Fear, it's ancient, primal, and universal. We fear pain. We fear failure. We fear loss, rejection, the unknown. But here's the truth that the Stoics knew. Fear is not your enemy. Fear is a mirror. It shows you what you value and what you misunderstand. The Stoic doesn't run from fear. He studies it. He walks with it. And eventually he masters it. Part 1, Fear is an opinion. Epictetus once said, "What upsets people is not things themselves, but their judgments about things." Fear is not always about reality. It's about perception. We don't fear death. We fear the idea of it. We don't fear rejection. We fear what it says about our worth. We don't fear change. We fear losing control. The Stoics didn't try to erase fear. They reframed it. They asked, what story am I telling myself about this? Is it true? Is it helpful? And most of all, is it in my control? Because if it's not, then fear becomes useless weight. Part 2, Control the response, not the world. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "If you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it." In other words, it's not the event that causes fear, it's our interpretation of the event. You fear public speaking, you're not in danger. You fear embarrassment, you fear quitting your job. You don't fear death, you fear uncertainty. You fear saying no. You're not being attacked, you fear disapproval. The Stoics taught that we only ever control two things: our thoughts, our actions. Everything else, chance, fortune, external. So fear, if it arises, must be filtered through reason. Ask, is this fear useful? Is it keeping me safe or keeping me small? What would courage look like right now? Part 3, Turning Fear into Fuel, Courage in Action. Seneca wrote, "We suffer more in imagination than in reality." Fear lives in the imagination, and the Stoic knows how to pull it into the light. The antidote to fear is not more thinking, it's action. That's how courage is born. You feel fear, and you step anyway, not recklessly, not without thought, but with deliberate defiance. Because courage is not the absence of fear, it's the decision that something else matters more. For the Stoics, that something was virtue. Justice mattered more than reputation. Truth mattered more than comfort. Wisdom mattered more than safety. So they practiced discomfort. They walked toward challenge. They rehearsed loss. And in doing so, they became immune to fear's manipulation. Part 4, Practical Tools for Fear, the Stoic Way. Let's make this real. Here are 4 tools the Stoics used to confront and master fear. Prima premeditatio malorum, premeditation of evils. Visualize what could go wrong, not to scare yourself, but to reduce the shock of life. Today, I may be insulted, betrayed, or disappointed. By expecting it, you prepare for it. Second, voluntary discomfort. Seneca would sleep on the floor, eat plain food, walk without a cloak. Set aside a certain number of days where you live as if you had lost everything. Not because he hated comfort, but because comfort weakens courage. Third dichotomy of control. Ask, is this in my control? If yes, act with reason. If no, release it. Simple, difficult, essential. 4. Self-inquiry in the moment of fear. When fear strikes, stop. Ask, what am I afraid of? What's the worst-case scenario? Can I handle that? If I act with courage, who do I become? Part 5. Fear of Death, the Final Test. The Stoics believed that all fear is ultimately fear of death. Why? Because behind every hesitation, every attachment, every anxiety lurks the question, what if I lose this? What if it ends? And their response, acceptance, not apathy, not fatalism, acceptance with clarity. Marcus wrote, "You could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do, say, and think. Memento mori. Remember death, not to live in fear, but to live in urgency. Because if death is inevitable, then fear loses its power, and every moment becomes precious, not terrifying." Part 6. Walking through fear stoically. Fear is a shadow. It only grows when you turn your back to it, but when you face it, quietly, steadily, with reason, it fades. The Stoic doesn't chase fear, but he doesn't run from it either. He investigates it, clarifies it, and acts anyway, because to fear less is to live more.